Hey guys, SuperHorrorBro Mike here, and in today's video we are playing Ghostwire Tokyo Prelude, the Corrupted Casefile. Now this is actually a prequel to Ghostwire Tokyo, which we recently did a playthrough on the channel, and I also covered a video looking at all the different ghosts throughout the game, which was really cool, and the support on that series and subsequent video was really high, so thank you for that. Now, Ghostwire Tokyo Prelude, as I said, it's a prequel. It actually did come out a day or two before the game, but it was not really advertised. I didn't actually know this game existed until recently when I came to do my story explained video. So before I get into the story explained video, which is coming in the next few days, I wanted to play through this game to add to my writing of that story so that I could fully explain everything that's going on. This game doesn't actually play like Ghostwire Tokyo. This is actually styled in the form of a visual novel, something like Doki Doki Literature Club, that type of game. So yeah, this is going to be kind of more laid back playthrough and probably not that horror based, but obviously it's important for our context of the story of Ghostwire Tokyo. So yeah, sit back, relax, and let's dive into Ghostwire Tokyo, the Corrupted Casefile. So here's KK. This is Rinko. God damn it, Rinko! Erica? See, he seems lost. And here we go, we're in Tokyo. Now who is this? No one wants to talk about it, but it's all that's on anyone's mind these days. Mysterious things are happening all around Shibuya. Sightings, attacks, disappearances, fear. How is a kid supposed to be a kid in a time like this? But honestly, Ryota never really was like most kids. He's not usually glued to his phone all day. So this is Ryota, this kid, I think. He's looking at vanishings around Tokyo. Ryota's concerns bring him to a mysterious case file posted online. It's titled The Kirigoka Vanishing. This is where I'm going to get all the Japanese names wrong, guys. I'm really terrible at pronunciations. He reads it to himself the best he can. Having tracked another report of dark fog to the area, I arrived to find it had passed, leaving dreary rain hanging over the neighbourhood. At the scene, all we found were the clothes of a mother and son, left behind like two malted cicada shells. It's hard to even imagine, a parent and her child just gone, precious lives snuffed out forever. My heart sank knowing that I failed to protect them. It was the worst feeling I'd ever felt, as if, on cue, the rain started pouring down. Heavier and heavier it felt with each passing minute, but I couldn't be bothered to take up my umbrella. That's when the obvious culprits returned to the scene of the crime, a group of monsters. They had umbrellas of their own, as if rain followed them wherever they go. I was furious. I brought hell down on them at that very moment. So that's obviously the visitors that we see. You know, walking around Tokyo, the walkers as they're called. They tried to protect themselves with the umbrellas, but I just kept pounding on them until they were battered and broken. I was so exhausted, I could have fallen over at any moment, but my utter wrath kept me going. As I picked up to leave, I still refused to open up my own umbrella. I just walked away, rain pouring and soaking me to the bone. KK, so that's, yeah, a message from KK who defeated a bunch of walkers in an angry wrath by the sound of it. Okay, so the next one's called the Maranaki Vanishing. And again, I hope I've pronounced that right. Unable to shake the idea that monsters are all around him, Ryota navigates on his phone to a document called the Maranaki Vanishing. The language is complicated, but he works to understand it. It says, I got a tip on a missing woman from Maranaki. When you've been a detective as long as I have, you tend to build up a big network of contacts. The story my contact told me was that they saw the woman one day when the fog rolled in. It blanketed the area and then poof, she was gone. Times like these make me wish that a certain somebody was around. Come to think of it, the fog and these disappearances set the scene for when I first met the rest of my crew. Everybody kept talking about folks just up and disappearing, and I thought it was a load of horseshit. It wasn't until I met them, and until my encounter, that I believed. Ever since then, I've been haunted by what I would have once called hallucinations. Turns out being able to see spirits and monsters isn't fantasy movie nonsense at all. Guess I should be thankful, because otherwise I wouldn't have seen through that monster taking the form of a woman. She made a bunch of red orbs appear that chased me around. but I knew as long as I didn't let myself get surrounded, I'd be okay. She was a nightmare to look at, so I put her out of her misery. When I searched, he just killed her because she wasn't nice to look at. When I searched the scene, I spotted a woman's handbag. Found the missing lady's ID cards in there. Then I came across some clothes that looked like they would be hers. They were in a little pile, but the way they had fallen made it clear her body had just vanished. No mistaking whose handiwork it was either. I'd finally managed to get my hands on a solid enough lead to work with. KK. So he's talking obviously about the man in the Hanya mask there. In these posts, the kid has found something, or rather someone. Someone called KK has been looking into monsters in this part of town. A believer, just like Ryota. Social media would never lie, and that means KK is an expert, maybe the expert in all things paranormal. Yeah, social media never lies, guys. This kid's kinda naive, isn't he? Ryota says, there's only one thing left to do. Having pored over every story, post and grainy photo about local monsters he could find, Ryota prepares to take action. I'm gonna ask that KK guy to help. Just gotta figure out where he lives first. Okay, so we gotta Google it. So he's searching for where he lives. And he seems to have found a contact. Dear Mr. Investigator Person. Very professional text. Here we go, this looks like Rinko, yep. Rinko's reading the email as it comes into their inbox at the hideout. Dear Mr. Investigator Person, hello, how are you? I'm not good and I need your help. Monster's got my best friend, Sosoki. Rinko sits up in her chair, she's zeroed in on one of dozens of monitors from across the makeshift command center stuffed into this cramped Tokyo apartment. It happens near the manhole, please help me get him back. Data files across the screens seemingly too much, charts and graphs, maps and mathematical equations, even social media feeds and opened case files. Somehow though, through all of these screens and all of that clutter, Ryota's message catches Rinko's eye. Rinko says, sounds desperate, but it could just be some bored kid trolling us. Calm and confident, Rinko insists on balancing compassion with skepticism in her analytical approach. On the other hand, that manhole is within the vicinity of several recent incidents. Maybe he is involved. She's obviously referring to Hanya there. She knows what she thinks, but she also knows that no one can protect Tokyo all by themselves. Trusting your teammates is the only way to keep everyone safe. What do you make of it, Ed? Ed squints and takes a single deep breath as he turns to the screen. He has something to say, but holds it back. Technology is easy, people are hard. Instead of speaking up, he places a small recorder on his desk. He presses play, and as the audio begins to roll, Ed turns and walks away. Yeah, Ed never really seems to talk to people in person, does he? Ed's voice. I've heard intriguing stories about so-called manhole girls in Japan. Vengeful ghosts of bullied students said to trick other children into following them into the sewer, from where they never return. If any information turns up such anomalies, I'd be keen to investigate, though I speak purely out of personal interest. It might not be enough to make the rest of my team pursue it without further evidence. Okay, safe to say since you somehow found the time to record something this specific about a single urban legend, that you want to look into it. Ed is already engrossed in his other work, he doesn't respond, he certainly doesn't notice when Rinko rolls her eyes. He rarely does. Probably best we have no idea how you spend your free time, huh Ed? Erica's been sitting next to Rinko this entire time, listening and waiting for the right time to chime in. That time is now. Erica says, want me to check it out? I don't think so, Erica. Could be dangerous. What if something happens to you? Seriously? You still don't trust me to go out by myself for 5 minutes in the middle of the day? At just 16 years old, Rinko might not be right to trust Erica on something dangerous. But Rinko knows that Erica has shown a maturity beyond her years. She gives Erica an almost sisterly look of skepticism. You know it's not that. Rinko quickly turns to her monitors and away from Erica. But for all her maturity, Erica can't quite keep from pouting. Stop making that face. Besides, we've got our very own private detective in the vicinity already. I'll have him take a look. So she's referring to KK, I think, there. The stall is brimming as a wide array of customers eat in relative silence. The only sound they make is the slurping of their noodles. That silence breaks when a phone begins to vibrate upon the countertop. The owner ignores it, choosing to focus on his meal instead. The phone doesn't care about his hunger and continues to vibrate. The phone wins, for peace and solitude have been shattered. There is no way to enjoy these noodles. God damn it. The silent diner finally glances at the screen. He begins to mutter to himself. Another case. These people have me working harder than my enemies ever did. This is obviously KK. Can't even get 5 minutes to enjoy a nice quiet lunch. He answers his phone. Let me guess, I'll be risking life and limb. That why you let it ring for so long? Too scared to pick up? Huh, you know the exact day I stopped being scared of anything. Ed says the day you stopped being a loner and hooked up with us, so we could finally have your back. Sure, that works. Besides, I'm not full enough to pretend this team isn't half okay. Erica says, if you need backup, you know I'll be there, no questions asked. I actually already volunteered, but... Rinko chimes in, but right now there's nothing dangerous to be worried about. It's a simple check-in on a report of some suspicious activity that might be connected to these phenomena we've been looking into. It always was simple cases that go south the fastest. You know what, you're right, maybe Erica should run point on this one. Sure, she's a kid, but you're busy, so... Whoa, hold up, let's not sacrifice the rookie to make me look bad. I'm already out, send me the info and I'll get on it. First though, I need to talk to one of you about something. I guess we'll talk to... like Rinko, maybe? Hey Rinko, let me guess, pissed I interrupted your precious solitary sober time? Irked, not pissed. I was almost done. God forbid the report of a vengeful spirit abducting children interrupts the same bowl of noodles you've had 1,000 times. Not much left in this world I love. When I think of something else, I'll tell you. You won't have a chance to add to that list if we don't figure this out. We both know how powerful the forces we're dealing with really are. We have to keep pulling these threads until we've unraveled the whole damn thing. No thread is too small. Guess I can't argue with that. I know I can rely on you. It may be the only thing I know for certain. Now go prove how smart I am, dumbass. KK says it's the job I was born to do, and he heads off. Here we go, KK's got a mission, and here's the kid Ryota again, and it says, Ryota doesn't notice the people passing him on the street. They don't notice him either. He is young, but he is very much alone. His focus is centered on the small bit of paper in his hands. After a couple of folds, the paper finds a familiar configuration. With a head, arms, and body, it takes shape. A palm-sized person stands in his hand. As Ryota inspects his creation, someone who has been observing him from afar steps from the shadows. Here's KK. What have you got there? Ryota looks up, he's nervous but he clutches the paper doll in his hand to stay brave. He's not running or hiding, despite the gruff stranger staring at him. No need to be afraid. I'm not here to do anything bad to you or your little friend. Gotta admit, I've been known to carry the odd paper doll with me on investigations. Strange habit, I know. But you get the benefits of a partner without anyone annoying to talk to. Ryota's shoulders ease, he lets his guard down as he listens to the detective and re-examines the folded paper. The detective surprises himself with his playful tone. He's rusty, but he somehow still feels comfortable talking to this scared kid. Sometimes paper dolls are useful for magical purposes. You're a sorcerer by chance. Now's the time to tell me. You're really him, huh? Gonna have to be more specific, kid. You're KK, the ghost hunter from the files. You must be. I just thought you'd be taller. They say you solve strange mysteries, right? KK? Maybe. The detective looks closely at Ryota's phone. He sees the social media posts featuring photos of various case files he's worked on, collected in one place. Look, I only use these initials cause writing out my name is a pain, and I got too much pain already. Not your problem, right? Anyway, that's me, KK, but I'm no ghost hunter, I'm a detective. KK's demeanor hardens a bit, dropping the playfulness. You wanted an investigator, kid, well, you got one. I'm so glad you're going to look into the disappearances at the manholes. Here's the thing, I already did. Made some calls on the way here. There's no record of any recent disappearances. Still got a few friends on the force so I can dig up dirt quick. KK shoots Ryota a serious look. Not trying to pull a fast one on me, are you, kid? It's true, honest. My buddy Sasuke disappeared. He hasn't come home since yesterday. Last place I saw him was right back here. Ryota motions to the alleyway behind him. He went down that way. I tried to follow, but I couldn't find him. He was completely gone. If Ryota is bluffing, he's an incredible liar. A sadness comes over him when he looks back toward the alley. KK looks back and forth from the kid and then to the alleyway behind him. All alleyways are dark, but this one looks like it's never seen daylight. See any fog when that happened? The moment he disappeared? Now that you mention it, there has been something spooky around, like a kind of fog or darkness, but it came and then went. Alright. KK mutters something to himself as he eyeballs the alleyway behind Ryota. Nothing looks immediately out of place. With so much going down in this city, some kid getting lost doesn't exactly seem like front page news. Call the kid's bluff. So we can either call the kid's bluff, or we can press for more info. I'm gonna just press for more info. I need more to go on, kid. Why are you so conflicted he was taken? Didn't happen to anyone else around here. But it did happen to my best friend. Sasuke's been missing for 2 full days. Everybody's been looking, but no one can find him. What about his parents? Have they filed a police report? I'm the only one who really cares about Sasuke. I know he needs me. And no one else is even looking for him anymore, just me. He's lucky to have you. It's like when you saw crows circling the building in one of the cases you investigated, you knew there was more to it than everyone else. Well, Mr. KK, I know there's more to Sasuke's disappearance, I just need your help. Really did your homework, huh? I'm impressed. You're more dedicated than most adults I know. You remind me of my friend Erica. She lost someone too. So obviously that's a reference to Erica's mother who died of a terminal illness. And that's kind of the event that sent Hanya spiraling into his madness as well, because Hanya was Erica's father. He goes on to say, and she'll never stop fighting for them either. KK takes another glance at the alley. Alright, show me exactly where this Sasuke pal of yours disappeared. Ryota perks up. So, you're going to look into it? I'm here, ain't I? Let me check in with my team, see if they figured anything out. Could save us some time. KK reaches for his phone. What's up? We're all here, says Rinko. KK continues. I just need a quick word with one of you to follow up on what the kid has told me. Alright, so who do we speak to? I guess we could speak to... Well, we just mentioned Erica, so maybe Erica is like a good person to talk to this time. Erica, you're a natural when it comes to intuition. What does your gut tell you? Erica says, I can feel something out there for sure. Something that threatens good people. Something that he would embrace. The details aren't clear. I can only see the shadows of a vision. But that's not important. I know it's him. I know we need to act. Right now. Nothing else matters. She's obviously speaking about her father Hanya, or the man in the Hanya mask as his full name is. We can't let another child disappear, another family get torn apart. You need to help him, there's still time. You know, kid, you're stronger than you have any right to be, and you got the scars to prove it. If we don't go looking for Ryota and Sasuke, who will? This is our mission. Ryota, it's time to find Sasuke. Okay, let's do this. So we're on a mission to find the kid's lost friend with KK. KK says, nothing looks out of place, but things are rarely what they seem. KK slowly but deliberately reaches his hand out. He's not holding on to anything, but you would think he is the way he's moving. like he's got something invisible dangling from his fingertips. So this is obviously his ethereal weaving powers that he has. Ryota has no clue what he's trying to do, but he watches closely. However, what happens next can only be seen by KK's eyes. As KK opens his fingers, a sparkling orb of energy drops into his hand and onto the ground. It ripples like water in a still pond, energy flowing outward into the world. There we go. Those ethereal powers at work, and it's exposed the manhole cover. Oh, and we can see the kid, I think, heading into the manhole. I think that's who that's meant to be. Sasaki. A strange trail floats into view, as though a spirit has passed through this place. Psychic energy. The trail leads further on, deeper into the alley, and out of view. Guess he went that way. Puzzled, Ryota follows KK's eyeline down the alley, but sees nothing out of the ordinary. Ryota says, "What happened? I don't see anything." "Trust me, kid. It's good that you can't see it. This is a power that you don't want. And you're too young for it. To take a risk like that could change your life forever. The world's a scary place. It keeps getting worse. We're gonna find your friend and get you back to your life." And down we go by the look of it, into the sewers. Don't know what we're gonna find down here though. Oh, KK and Rinko are in big trouble this time, running like rats desperate to stay alive, with only a dingy old sofa between them and... monsters! Is this like a flashback now? Seems like it. Rinko says, "We'd better find another exit." Rinko turns to KK and sees him holding his head. He appears to be in great pain. "Damn, it's happening again. Your body's reacting to the ether." As KK looks at the room, his vision begins to break in half. This is really trippy, by the way. He tries to focus, but rather than reform, everything continues to split apart even further. Another hallucination. The world is breaking in two. That'll be crystallized ether, another form of matter. Sounds like your body has entered the final stages of affinity. From thin air, like phantoms, these horrific visitors appear, surrounding KK and Rinko. So they're the visitors, obviously, guys, just to refresh you, are the ghosts that come into this realm. And the affinity is this special, ethereal power that the team members seem to possess, and that actually Akito and his sister Mari possess as well in the story of Ghostwire Tokyo. So yeah, Rinko says, "Damn, we're surrounded." And that was just a flashback, I guess, to show kind of what happened in KK's past. Ryota says, "Mr. KK? Are you okay?" Sorry kid, my mind can be a little hard to control. You just kinda stood there for a little while. Sometimes my memories take me places. Hate to leave you alone again, but you need to wait here while I look for your pal. Sit tight, I won't be long." Alright, now we're going into the sewers. I got tricked last time. Well no, we're actually going back to the hideout. A report on Rinko's computer setup flashes on the screen. Ed's monitoring software has a hold of something big. The results are clear. Spiritual residue, and it's exactly at KK's location.
Oi.
What is it now? We've just received an alert. There was a massive surge of spiritual energy at your location. Hold off pursuing until we're able to send some support. Can't wait forever for you guys. We might have a missing child on our hands. We got plenty of evidence. I know what I'm getting myself into. Remember, saving more lives is the only thing that matters. Erica feels it. I feel it. Hell, you don't need an affinity to know that life is circling the drain out there. Fighting back is all we got. Erica says, "I want to be there and help you myself, but I understand why we can't wait any longer. But just know that you're my inspiration to keep going. Like you did. I mean, do." Rinko says, "Erica, inspiration can get you killed if you're not careful. Passion is nothing without strategy. It's not fair to ask us to help when you think you need us, then use our own words against us when you're too impatient to act as a team. We're in this together." KK decides to address one team member specifically to make his case. I feel like we should probably speak to Rinko as she's been the last one to talk there. Fair? What about anything happening to us is fair? This job that no one asked us to do, but we all know we can't escape. You're damn right, it happened to us, not just you. I had to throw myself into the fire, even though I knew I'd get burned. Hurt like hell, but it saved both our lives. Couldn't forget that day if I wanted to. There's no way of knowing what would have happened if you didn't. Just because you got hurt doesn't mean that was the only option. You're right that I didn't agree with you then, and I don't agree with you now either, but I also know that you're just doing what you feel you must. I hate that I admire you for that sometimes. KK says, this team means everything to me, Rinko. It's all I got, and I'm gonna protect it, trust me. I'm trying. Maybe make it easier next time. I'll talk to you later. I'm in the middle of investigating. Rinko says he was never good at following people's directions. And Ed says, that attitude of his is precisely what saved our hides on countless occasions. You don't think I realize that? Erica smiles, thinking about KK's attitude. It doesn't bother her. Erica always had a soft spot for KK. Oh, and now we're gonna find out what happened that got KK so hurt with Rinko. So here we go. Rinko says, damn, they're everywhere. KK's eyes dart between the two horrific figures and to some incredibly strange glowing crystals that hover nearby. As he tries to speak, KK wheezes painfully. Rinko, what would happen if someone tried to touch one of those ether crystals? Your guess is as good as mine. Might give you the power to fight back, might just make you even more miserable. Who can say? What about him? Did it grant him strength? So the ether crystals are what granted Hanya his strength to begin with and his supernatural powers. So this is kind of good, we're getting some more backstory on all of this. This is probably how KK acquires his powers, I'm guessing. Rinko nods silently. After getting his answer, KK, without hesitation, stretches out his hand toward the crystals. Wait, stop! Stopping's not an option. Not for any of us. You don't know what will happen. It could kill you. And those things won't. We're dead if we don't try something. We aren't out of options yet. You've thrown away everything to fight these monsters, same as me. There's not a goddamn thing left to lose at this point. Before Rinko can say anything else, KK reaches all of the way out. There you go, he's taking the crystals and getting his powers, I assume. Yep. So here we go, we can see that kid is trapped in the sewer. KK follows the trail of psychic energy deeper into the dark Shibuya alleyway, away from the glow of familiar streetlights and vending machines. His venture into the unseen brings him to a manhole cover, where the spirit residue flashes with an eerie intensity. This spot is clearly the origin point for whatever spirit is at the center of this mystery. Did they take you this way, Sasuke? KK looks around and, finding nothing, focuses attention on this haunted manhole. The spectral vision shows KK a lot more than he thought it might, revealing a glowing spectre hovering in this dark and dreary place. The spirit of a man in his 30s. A Jibaku Rai. According to Japanese lore, this type of spirit is trapped in a physical location. Okay, Spectre, what's keeping you tied down there? The Spectre says, Very, strange sentence to say, he just kind of moans. The Spectre seems unable to answer him. Instead, he mutters, as if distracted or perhaps completely delirious. Either or, maybe both. Spectres aren't considered especially concerned with politeness or clarity. KK says, neither of us is going anywhere until I get some answers. I need to know what you're doing here, specifically at this manhole cover. Why haunt this place? Spectre says, I thought it was a kid. Just a kid playing around, just having fun, alone. I wanted to make sure he was safe. So, just being neighborly, eh? Yes, no, not making a friend, protecting. But he wasn't... It wasn't a kid though, was it? There was something else, something lurking in these shadows. Did I die? I think I died. But this isn't exactly what I expected. What was it? Monster. A monster. The spectre points downward. Underneath her, KK stares at the manhole, as though if he looks just hard enough, he'll suddenly see what lurks in the darkness beneath its cover. He doesn't have to see the spectral nod to know he's right. Before he can pull up the manhole cover and see for himself, a long shadow creeps in from the edge of the alleyway. Ryota's come to help. Always the kid comes to help and puts themselves in harm's way, don't they? Ryota says, "Did you find anything?" KK says back, "Snooping around is a detective's business. You don't belong here, kid." "I thought I heard you talking to someone." "Who is this youngster?" "Only I can hear you, so don't bother." "Only you can hear me? Well, sure, nobody else is even here." "This is turning into a damn clown show, kid. I need you to stay here while I go down. It's not safe for you there." Not safe, monster." "But how do you know I'll be safe up here?" "My team's one call away. They'll get here quick if you're in danger." Rinko is on the phone. She says, "Weren't you just saying something about being in the middle of an investigation and too busy to talk to anyone?" "Funny you should mention that. I could actually use some help. I believe they call it client services." "Who are you calling, mister? Are they nice like you or nicer?" "Client services," says Rinko. "Sounds more like babysitting to me. If only you would just wait for us to get there." "We play the hand we're dealt, and juggling work and childcare has never been my strong suit. Need a little support." Rinko sighs. A long, tired sigh of a frustrated person who knows that in the end, of course they'll help. She always helps him, just as he will always help her. KK says, "And I have a perfect candidate in mind." Who's good to babysit? Probably not Ed. Erica will probably be good with kids, right? Erica. She's the only kid I actually know and like anymore. "Hey KK, you need my help? I can be there ASAP." "I do need your help, but it can't wait. My new friend Ryota, the one who called us for help. Is he a little afraid of you?" "What? No, why would you think that? I mean, yeah, maybe a little. But no, that's not it. Although it'd be better if he did fear me, then I could do my work." "Oh, hey, you aren't really that scary. I think I get it, let me talk to him." KK hands his phone to Ryota and motions for him to accept the call. Ryota says, "Yes?" Erica responds, "Is this Mr. Ryota?" "Yes." "I'm so excited that I get to speak to you. I've heard that you're quite the investigator. I need help from someone like you." "What could I do to help you?" "Well, our friend is there with you. He actually has 2 missions. Since he is looking for your friend, maybe you could swap and look for my friend. If we share the responsibility, I'm sure that we can achieve success together as a team." "I suppose I could try and help you since he is helping me." "Okay, but first, can you keep a secret? It's very important and related to this mission." Yeah, I'm best at keeping secrets. I won't tell you how I know that, but it's true." "My friend is a cat. I put a tracker on her collar that says she is nearby to you, in the alleyway by your house. I miss her dearly. I'm a little embarrassed to admit it, but some of my best friends are animals." "Your secret is safe with me. What does she look like?" "She's all black with 1 white spot and a few white whiskers. Her name is Monet. Like the painter, she really likes to hide. Can you look closely in between and behind all of the vending machines and trash cans? Just to be safe, text me back of every dark corner you can find. She's very good at camouflage and easy to miss." "I will find your friend," says Ryota. Ryota hands the phone back to KK and turns his attention to the nearest trash can. Phone out, he seems to be inspecting each side of it. "Lucky for you, your new buddy is an animal lover just like me. I've given him a rescue mission to find a missing cat and send me a photo of it." "But what if he succeeds? Tons of strays out here. He might actually bump into one." "I could always use more cat pics texted to me, and maybe he'll give it the home that it needs. Win-win." Now to get down there and find your pal Sasaki. Okay, so we're going down into the sewers finally, guys, we're doing it. The horror portion is starting. Dirty water splashes under KK's feet as he makes his way through the still darkness of Shibuya's sewers. The further he goes, the darker it gets, but not because of any change in light. No, this darkness is unnatural. In fact, it's not darkness at all. It's tangible. Dense fog made of spiritual energy fills the air. Toxic paranormal waste coats the ground and plugs the drains. Ooh, yeah, there's one of those trees made of kind of darkness and spirit energy. But the air itself is rejecting him. This corruption flows between worlds and reaches around him, blocking KK's way. How long has it been building up right below our feet? Is it like this everywhere? As KK goes deeper, the Kagari only increases. There's definitely something here if there's this much corruption swirling around. Nothing I can't handle though. Alone in the darkness, KK summons his power and... there you go. Do one of those special trace shapes. Here we go, we'll hold it and we'll just trace the shape. I'm not very good at this. Ah! It's like I'm doing it on Microsoft Paint or something. Is that good enough? No, we actually have to do it like really straight within the lines. This is actually hard. This would be a lot easier with a mouse. I'm playing on a controller. Don't know why, because I'm actually playing on the computer, so I should have used a mouse. Here we go though. Hopefully this is about right. 1 year later. Mike finally drew the line and connected up all the points. There, done. Cleanses the corruption, returning the sewer to its normal state. That's better, minus the stink. With the Kagari now cleared, as if it were waiting for a moment of safety, someone appears. Sasuke, is that you? The small boy avoids KK's look, turning his back and picking at something on the wet ground. Small boy, splish splash, splish splash. Hey kid, you okay? Can you hear me? Are you hiding from something? Take a bath. Take a bath. Come on kid, this isn't the time or place, answer me. I'm not trying to scare you, but you gotta work with me here. In the vast darkness of the sewer, the sound of KK's phone suddenly rings out, the tinny chime echoing back and forth around the hollow space. The small boy in the raincoat doesn't seem to notice. He must be very preoccupied. I'm close. I found Sasuke, but I'm worried. He won't. Muffled sounds from Rinko. Down so far, the signal to KK's phone is barely holding on. He can only make out a few sounds and struggles to make out what words might be forming. Hello, is anyone there? Rinko, is that you? Ed? Erica? Who is this? I mean, it said it was Rinko, right? Like, we just saw that it was Rinko, so let's select Rinko. Rinko, can you hear me? Are you with Ryota? Can you ask him, was Sasuke wearing a yellow raincoat? The scratchy connection makes it almost impossible to understand. Sasuke? It's about Sasuke? Not... Rinko, I can't understand. Sasuke, it's not what? Not Sasuke. The call cuts out, so it seems like this spirit isn't Sasuke yet. The call cuts out and the phone is going dead in KK's hand. Damn. Enough screwing around, Sasuke. Just like that, finally, as if called by his mother to come to dinner, the child responds. He stands up and turns to KK with his dead, evil eyes. You're not Sasuke, you're the monster. KK raises his hand and calls forth an energy that he discovered that day long ago. The day he found his back against the wall, reaching out and touching the ether crystal. Ever heard of ethereal weaving monster? Energy surges into KK's hand, green light winding and glowing around his fingertips. The increasingly bright light glows, illuminating the tunnel. And at that moment, standing in the center of the tunnel, we can see this monster, this raincoat visitor, just in time for it to press a child's whistle to its mouth and summon a load of monsters, I'm guessing. Oh no, we've been summoned to the So in between realm, we've got Hanya standing right in front of us. At a stranger's fingertips lies KK, now a prisoner. Stranger says, "I need my subject to remain calm, or else nothing will get done." Despite being captive, KK flashes the stranger a fierce glance. "You son of a bitch." "Hello, my new friend. I'm keen to see how useful your vessel turns out to be." The stranger takes something out and holds it in his hand. An amulet, though clearly not simply for decoration, it surges with power. He now looks from the amulet and back to KK and smiles. This isn't good. As the monstrous little raincoat visitor blows his whistle, he steps back into the shadowy darkness. Running away, huh? But he's not running away at all. In fact, he's only making space. Yeah, here come the monsters. For two much larger, far more horrifying visitors to show up and challenge KK. "I've been waiting to run into you again. Let's go, you bastards." Alright, so now we get to fight them. Damage a single visitor with a wind attack. Visitors perish after 2 hits. Okay. Or we can use a talisman that stops visitors from moving. It'll become consumed on use. Alright, I don't know how many enemies we're gonna have. So I guess I'll use that first. We'll freeze them. The umbrella to visitors are frozen in place. Only 1 stun talisman is left. Right, so now we'll use, I guess, our damage. Just damage them a little bit. While they're frozen. 1 umbrella visitor is injured. The umbrella visitor awakens from their stun. We'll use the damage attack again. Hopefully this will defeat one of them. Okay, 1 umbrella visitor is injured. And it seems like they're out of the picture as well. Now the other one attacks. I guess we can block. There we go, block against the attack. Barrier appears in front of KK. An umbrella to visitor attacks, but its attack is deflected by the barrier. Barrier's broken. See, we're being skillful with this, guys. We're doing well. You know, strategy prevails and all that. Now I'm going to attack him again. Here we go. Barrier's broken. We're injuring him. He's sustained 1 attack. We'll guard again against his attack. So we've deflected again. Now we just attack him again. Hopefully this defeats him. There might be more though, I don't know, there might be more than this. You're done. Yeah, we've taken him down. Nice. So now we get to pull his core out and destroy him for good. And it says the fight now over, the sewer is oddly calm again. KK sweeps the space, looking for any clues that may be left buried. Why would a pack of monsters manifest their evil here? But then he sees it, affixed to one of the walls of a tunnel. A wooden tag, sometimes called a kafuda. This must be what summoned those things. KK reaches out to take the kafuda down, but as his fingertips approach it, he's taken somewhere. Where are we being taken now, I wonder? Yeah, the in-between dimension again. Rinko? God damn it, Rinko! Erica! KK feels a big, quick thump to his body. When he looks down, he sees someone else's arm stabbing through his chest. It's horrifying. Black smoke rushes out of his body. Wait, is this where KK actually dies to the man in the Hanya mask? I think it might be. Looking back up, KK sees a man wearing a Hanya mask. You're... Oh, no, we're back. As KK comes to, he realizes that he is in the tunnel once again. He looks at his chest and it's totally fine. No gaping hole, not even a scratch. Sweating, breathing heavily, his mind races. It was a horrible dream, maybe a vision. He grips the kafuda in his hand. I won't let him get away with this. So hard that it smashes into pieces. At that moment, KK realizes he's not actually alone. Distracted by his fury, he has missed the approach of someone new. Who's there? Surprised, he spins to face the entity, but before he can raise his hand, He's not having a good time, KK, is he? He's kind of going through the ringer here. KK emerges from the tunnel to find Ryota waiting with the rest of the team. You fool, says Rinko. You run into a wall of Kagari and your instinct is to walk deeper into it when you know we're on the way to help? Listen, No, you listen. I'm not done yelling at your stupid ass for making me worry about you. Okay, but all of our instruments at HQ started going wild. We basically broke every traffic law in Tokyo twice just to get here as quick as possible. And then we find an open sewer entrance, little Ryota peering down into this dirty tunnel, clearly considering climbing down there despite our best efforts to cover for you and keep him busy. Sure, accept. So we take a look for ourselves. It's corruption in all directions, the whole place absolutely soaking in spirit residue. It's like they're amassing an army beneath our feet, and you go sniffing around alone? It's not. Maybe let her finish. Worst of all, you arrive stinking but unscathed, having been gone just long enough to have me convinced you were really hurt down there, but I would never see you alive again. Ed says, the problem with disappearing into a dangerous sewer all alone is that the longer you're gone, after Rinko has been asking you to be cautious, the more time she has to consider the things she'll shout at you when you return. That's very true. Ed finally speaks as well, without recording. Rinko says, the things we've gone through together. When you're in danger, it's as if I can feel it, deep down, but there's nothing I can do. What if you had died? The thought of being haunted by you, of all people, I almost climbed down there to kill you myself. Rinko and KK have this sort of love-hate relationship, don't they? They kind of have a dislike for each other, but they do care for one another at the same time. KK says, I'm sorry, should have waited. Don't you dare be nice to me right now. I need to calm down. I value your friendship and support. I didn't hear that. Safely above ground, reunited with his team, KK turns his attention to the original source of all of this drama, his young client Ryota. You were never going to tell me, were you? Sasuke isn't your best friend. He's your dog. Man, the kid put us through all of this for a dog. I guess I can see that. I mean, you know, we all care for our pets, right? He's my dog and my best friend. That's why no one else cared. I was wondering like why no one would care for a kid, even the kid's parents, but yeah, a family dog makes a bit more sense. KK steps back nervously as Sasuke tries to jump into his lap, tail wagging. Okay, calm down, he just wants to be petted, jeez. Who'd have thought such a tough-as-nails former detective would have such a strong phobia around dogs? Don't have to broadcast it, alright? I bet KK hated us on my playthrough because we were just petting him, you know, every single dog we came into contact with, I was giving a little stroke, a little pet. Ryota says, don't be scared, Sasuke loves everyone. Maybe he should draw the line at loving monsters and following them into a sewer. Ryota hugs his dog and gets a face full of licks in response. KK relaxes slightly, seeing how harmless this little dog is, but still keeps some distance. Thank you so much for bringing him home safely, Mr. KK. Mr. KK? What an adorable alias. When exactly did you start going by this new short nickname, KK? I suppose it has a fun ring to it, though not quite as formal as your full name. Before we get too sidetracked, as the investigator on this one, you've got some paperwork to do, KK. Not sure what's worse, fighting monsters or filling out all of these damn forms. Nerika says it's obvious you prefer the fighting to paperwork. KK scribbles out a few quick lines, only Ed can read them. Hey kid, this is for you. Oh, it's a prize for helping you find the ghost? Almost. It's for Bill. Ryota's face sinks as he is left holding the check. Lucky for you, today's work is pro bono. That means free. Consider this your receipt. I'm feeling generous right now. Ryota looks closely at the paper in his hand. It says, The Case of the Cursed Manhole. Extermination complete. From KK. And we actually see that case file when we play the game. We find it in the hideout. It's one of the first files we come across, I believe. Leaning in over his shoulder, Rinko lets out an uncharacteristically loud burst of laughter. Oh, now I get it. You didn't choose the nickname KK, sloppy paperwork chose it for you. There's a lot in life that you don't get to choose. Call me what you like. Not like I've got any real use for a real name these days, and definitely not one of my old names. We never discover KK's name as far as I remember. Doesn't matter what anyone calls me, as long as I find that bastard. KK's gaze looks fierce, as though he's recalling a bitter past. Reflected in his eyes is Ryota, who looks pleased to have received KK's autograph. KK's expression softens up in response. That said, I guess KK's not so bad. And there we go. Is this going to be the end? Yeah, that's the end, guys. So we kind of got a little bit more backstory. We got to hang out with the group. I didn't really find out too much that I didn't already know about them, other than, obviously, we learn how KK and the man in the Hanya mask acquired their spirit powers. It was through the ether crystals, and we saw that KK only touched the ether crystals as a last resort to protect Rinko, essentially. He was just looking out for his team, so he took on that power, which he kept free to death and then passed on to Akito, obviously, when the two of them merged in the story of Ghostwire Tokyo. But that's the end of this game, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. It was around, you know, sort of an hour's playtime, obviously. And once I cut it down, it'll probably be a bit shorter than that. But, you know, a decent little length for a short prequel chapter, and hopefully it was worth a watch today for you. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more Ghostwire Tokyo, as I said at the start of the video, I've made a full playthrough, so if you haven't watched that and you want to see me play through the entirety of the game, that's up on the channel. I'll leave a link to part 1 at the end of this video. I'll also leave a link to the video I did detailing all of the different monsters in the game, so you can find out all of the lore and backstories on all of the different visitors we encounter. In the next few days, I'll be bringing you a full story breakdown of Ghostwire Tokyo, looking at the main story beats as well, for those of you who just want a basic recap on everything that happens. And this little prequel is going to feed into that in a small way. And with all of that said, thanks for watching today. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, remember to leave me a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for more videos just like this one, and I will see you all on the next one.